All right, welcome back to another week of Niche Pursuits News. My name is Jared Bauman. We've got a couple of wonderful stories we're going to dive into today. Last week we talked briefly. Today we'll dive into OpenAI's new release of their model O1, or otherwise known as Strawberry. We'll get some data samples back. We'll talk about what it means and maybe what it could mean for all of us. We're going to be going through an open letter to Google, not the first open letter we've seen published to Google. This is a new one based on some of the recent updates. We've also got some interesting data that's been crunched on the August core update. Of course, we have some information and updates on side hustles. We've got some weird niches to share with you. And we've got Brooks Conkle back for, I believe, a second time co-hosting. Brooks, welcome.
Number 2, man. Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for welcoming me back. Appreciate it, man. I was
Sure
trying to
thing.
welcome you, man. I was like, welcome to you, Jared.
You can welcome me, man. No one welcomes me. I appreciate it. I'll take the welcome.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. And I think, in general, we picked a good week to kind of get together and talk about some of the things. Last time you were on, we were talking all about the August core update. A lot of today's topics, after we get through the OpenAI release, are kind of about the August core update. So it's good to have you back on and stuff. And let's go ahead and dive into the news here. So our first story is this OpenAI release of I'm blanking on it here, of O1. I feel like I've got too many different OpenAI releases here. We moved off the numbering system. OpenAI released what's called O1, and a lot of it used to be known as Strawberry if you're in kind of the developer community. And basically, this is the first model with what's called reasoning abilities. Now, I would have thought that we could have assumed the last couple of models had this reasoning ability here. But in general, this is the first in a series of reasoning models that's designed to solve more complex problems and queries. And so it's kind of a shift from the earlier GPT models. A couple things about it. It's expected to perform better in coding, solving multi-step problems. It's also slower and more expensive. So this is interesting. I think we didn't know this last week, or at least we didn't talk about it. The API cost for developers on O1 is 4x higher than on ChatGPT 4.0. Couple things, and I've got actually a little screenshot I can share with people. A key differentiator of this is its training methodology, and so it uses reinforcement learning and a chain of thought process, which you'll see when you kind of prompt this model. It'll actually walk you through all the steps. And then OpenAI claims this model is more accurate and hallucinates less than previous models, though it hasn't completely eliminated those hallucinations. Brooks, have you played around with this at all?
Yeah, so I did. Between yesterday and today, I did. Yeah, the irony of the names is so crazy. Like earlier, you're trying to say O1. I'm like, come on, guys. They gotta help us out. Like make it easier for us to say or whatever. But yeah, I would say if you're gonna play with it, get ready to read, because when you prompt it for the project or whatever you're looking to do, it thinks and it spits out a lot of multi-step information. Like what I've seen so far, I'm pretty blown away. I have like a project idea that I'm actually like using it for, and so that was the first idea that I had. It's interesting what it is, the way it's doing. Apparently they completely trained it completely differently, like kind of from the ground up, from
Right.
what I understand.
Yep, same understanding here. Yeah.
And that's interesting to me. And it's cool that it's right inside of our account, like if you have the paid version. So I guess using it on that end, maybe you would just get like less usage if you use it versus the other stuff. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, for those of you who are paying for ChatGPT 4.0, like it's a drop down up there where it says 4.0, you can drop it down. It does say preview mode for IO, and there is an IO mini. The mini is cheaper. It's, I believe, faster and not as powerful. Brooks, I have to say, I didn't catch this part of the article. Got to highlight it after you and I just both kind of threw them under the bus for naming. Here's a quote. I'm going to be from somebody at OpenAI. I'm going to be honest. I think we're terrible at naming traditionally. So I hope this is the first step of a newer, more sane names that better convey what we're doing with the rest of the world. I would say, I guess, obviously, both Brooks and I don't agree, but I digress.
Yeah, we're missing something, man. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I think you and I are the problem here, not the naming convention.
Do you ever get stuck in your business and wish you had someone you could turn to for solutions? Well, I think you should consider joining the Niche Pursuits community. You'll get weekly calls with experts on growing a successful online business, and you'll also get assigned a small mastermind group where you can solve your business problems as well as share your wins. For a limited time, I'll let you try out the Niche Pursuits community for just $1. Go ahead and use coupon code PODCAST at checkout in order to get your first month for just $1. Again, that's coupon code PODCAST. Go to community.nichepursuits.com today and see what it's all about. And maybe I'll see you on our call next week. Thanks a lot.
Right, right.
Well, let me share this here. I've got the O1 preview up in front, and it looks like
Oh,
everybody can see it here. So I prompted it with a question. I did a little research before I put this question in. This is reminiscent of my college calculus class, and I got a D in this class. It's like fourth semester college calculus, and some variation of this question was the only question on the final of this class. Now, I'm sure I don't have it exactly perfect, but it's been ingrained in my memory because I did not get this one right. I failed the class. I got a D in it, and I had to retake the class. This is like a pivotal moment in my life. So here's the question I prompted ChatGPT O1 with. I said, and again, for those of you mathematicians out there, like if I have a little bit of it wrong, just forgive me. I'm just trying to make sure we get something to talk about here and showcase. But if you're watching on screen, you'll get to see how O1 actually processes the information. So the prompt is, I'm standing somewhere on Earth. The sun is at an angle of 45.78 degrees from Earth in the sky. It's 21 days past the summer solstice, and my latitude is 50 degrees north. What longitude am I standing at? And so
whoa.
right, yeah, kind of gnarly, huh? So
Mm-hmm.
it goes through and basically, it calculates number one, and it does the math in front of you, right? So it says calculate number one, the day of the year. So it's 21 days past summer solstice, and it shows you how it calculates that. Number two, compute the solar declination. If I knew how to do this back in college, I've since forgotten. I'm not sure I did. Number three, use a solar elevation angle formula. That's a lot of math. Number four, convert hour angle to time difference. Number five, convert local apparent solar time. Number six, correct for the equation of time, and it's got a lot more math. Number seven, find the time difference from GMT. Number eight, calculate longitude. So it says basically the answer is approximately 41.8 degrees east longitude. That took it 56 seconds. So I just like to say that if it took AI 56 seconds to do something like that, I don't know how my college professor expected me to be able to get that right in an hour or two test. But nonetheless, I then prompted and said, what's the closest major city to this latitude and longitude? And it came back and said Volgograd, Russia. And it's on the western bank of the Volga River. And there you have it. So, I mean, aside from all the crazy math, like interesting how this new model kind of parses data and how it explains it to us as it goes.
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, I'm definitely too fresh to give any, crazy opinions, but I think it's amazing in general. I mean, like to see it do that multi-step
Yeah.
problem. I was just thinking through it as you were describing it because I hadn't seen that before, before you just put it up on the screen. I'm seeing it with everyone else. That is it's still mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing to me, and this is the dumbest that it's ever going to be.
It's funny because in math class, I remember growing up, I took a lot of math growing up and in college and stuff. And I remember, and this is a really paltry example, but I remember, sometimes you're there and you're like, I know the answer, but they're like, you're not going to get credit for it unless you show your work.
Yeah.
It feels like that jump with the model from giving you the answer to now kind of showing the work. A couple more details on it, then we'll, aside from any other comments, we'll move on. So this O1 has limitations, particularly in areas like, and again, I'm pulling from the article here. O1 has limitations, particularly in areas like factual knowledge and browsing the web. But again, to your point, Brooks, I think this statement stood out, or kind of summary of it. OpenAI positions O1 as a stepping stone toward future AI capabilities, especially autonomous systems or what they're calling agents that could make decisions and take actions on behalf of users, which is quite the step forward.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more like how this thing's operating versus like what it can actually do. It's like the processes that it's taking, which is pretty interesting. It's a complex reaction rather than just a simple like back and forth input response.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what people do with this. I feel like we're going to start seeing fruits from this model coming out very soon. Coding and data analysis and data process and so many things I'm sure we're not even thinking of. So,
Yeah.
well,
Yep.
hey, let's move along. I teased it at the outset. Like you were here for kind of the first week of the Google's August core update, and we were just kind of parsing through data, kind of looking at house fresh recoveries and these new websites that were getting some love for the first time in a year or so. We have an open letter to Google now. Again, this isn't the first open letter we've had where people kind of brands come out and basically call out Google for what they've been doing in the SERPs for the past year or so. This one is going to come to us from. Let me go back to the top here. I was deep in this. This one comes to us from the folks at Healthy Framework, which is like a dating app review site. And I mean, it's a long one. Okay, so I'll say at the outset. Let me give you the
Hmm.
cliff notes here, and then we can kind of drill into what it really means. So they have lost, I believe it was 98% of their revenue since the helpful content update hit last September 1 year ago. Obviously, forced them to make some significant cutbacks and downsizing. So they kind of go through this article, and again, I'm just going to try to do cliff notes here. There's a lot to it. They argue that the update has really favored large publishers, which we kind of know from the data. Aggregate review sites like Forbes, Trustpilot, Consumer Affairs, these are the ones that are all benefiting. And to their point, they say they provide biased or low quality content. They say Google has developed an over reliance on brand awareness as a ranking factor. And I think this is interesting because we've talked about this. We talked about it last week. We talked about it in weeks prior. The team points out that small publishers cannot easily build brand awareness in niches like, say, dating app reviews, or as they like to go on about, toasters, where users rarely need repeat recommendations. So there isn't much brand awareness. You're not going there because it's a brand. You're going there because you just need something. Small review sites like theirs are at a disadvantage because they provide thorough, honest content, but they don't generate returning visitors because they kind of give people what they want. And that's a potential ranking factor that then could harm their visibility. I thought it was really interesting. Let me see if I can find this here. I'm going to search toaster because I thought this was really interesting. Does anyone have a favorite toaster review team? And I quote here from the
Yeah.
article. Let's say you're in the market for a toaster. You want to hear from people who live, breathe, and sleep toasters, right? Who is your go-to brand name for toaster reviews? If you're drawing a blank, so are we. Toaster is just one example of many. I mean, such
Yep.
an interesting point, and I can't argue with him.
Yeah, yeah, it's an interesting article. Another cry out. I don't know. Is there a date on this article? I'm curious when they wrote it. I just scrolled at the top and I didn't see a date. I mean, obviously it's going to be fairly recent. I just don't know. I just don't know the date. I kind of wonder if people are brands are seeing the attention that
Yeah.
other brands like House Fresh. They're like, oh my gosh, these guys are getting so much. And here we are mentioning House Fresh again right now.
Yep.
May as well go ahead and drop Retro Dodo for everybody. Everyone go
Yep.
out there and give those guys some love. Because those are the brands that wrote these articles and talking about this exact story. The story in this article, like Jared, when I looked through and I read it, it's not really a new idea, but it's another one of the stories. It's like another cry out from a brand saying, "Hey, we were doing everything that we thought was right, and we've been completely disrupted, completely destroyed. We've had to lay off." I mean, I mean, my heart goes out because it's like they're like, "Man, we had to lay off staff. We're talking about revenue drop. They're trying to just hold things together." And it's not like a unique story, right? This is like a ton of brands out there, like we've talked about. So, um, but yeah, I mean, well written and kind of like solidifying all the things that we've heard and been seeing is my opinion on this.
Well, I went and looked to your point. I mean, the August core update of 2024 finished, I believe it was September 3rd. This was written, at least according to the source code, on
Ooh,
September 6th. And so,
you're
uh,
savvy. Nice.
yeah, it does appear to be. But I mean, you bring up a good point. Like you have to call it the elephant in the room, I think, to some degree, right? And that is that, like, if brand awareness is something that Google is paying attention to, one of the best ways to get your brand some awareness when it's almost impossible because your review site is to do something like writing an open letter. I mean, it's hard to know.
Sure.
It's a well-written open letter, but you're right. It plays along with a lot of the other open letters, and it's just kind of using more current data. They reference that data study by Moz, right, about brand awareness. I think that's a new finding that maybe we suspected. And if you didn't hear us talk about that, go back to, I believe it was last week's podcast where we did go through it. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. So they are referencing these new data points, but I think it brings up a larger topic, which is for a lot of people listening: are affiliate sites doomed if brand awareness is the new modicum of ranking in the SERPs? Because to the point of the article, how do you be a brand when you literally hang your hat on being a review site? Or is this really the transition point we all needed to turn a website into something larger, something bigger, something that stands for more than just what you review?
Yeah. It's a great question. And I think it's like business and it's like life. I mean, things happen and you have to innovate. And when things are going well, or like something is working, and it's very easy to put on blinders. And it, again, that's what I feel like's happened to everyone that's been, hit hard. Oh, you asked me last time we recorded, you said, "Hey, you asked me how I fared." So when this was completely wrapped up, I had one site that increased quite well, one that just kind of stayed stable, and I had one that was actually, I thought I had made it through everything, and it got actually hit directly in this most recent update. I just found it really interesting. Um, so yeah, but I'm taking the view, Jared, that like it's got to be like we have to raise up outside of just one source of traffic and one angle. And so when you say an affiliate site, to me that sounds very one angled.
Correct.
Um,
I said that
I
on purpose. You're exactly
yeah
right. Like I
yeah
purposely chose those words to kind of isolate what a lot of us have done historically, right? Like, hey, Google
yeah
traffic, we know how to get it. We know the process. Let's go for it. It feels wrong to have it ripped away under the guise of unhelpful content.
yeah
And I
yeah
think maybe what this article is getting at is the underpinning of everything. Like, and I'm not trying to make some broad statement here, but like maybe if we just didn't have to call it unhelpful content and instead just called it a model shift, maybe it'd make more sense.
yep
Because I feel like this open letter to Google is arguing the same thing that so many have argued, which is my content is high quality. And I think what you're arguing, what I might be saying, what we're kind of saying is it's a model shift.
Yep. Just look at the Google search. Like, go search anything and look, and like they have clearly completely changed their like they're having to innovate. They're changing. Like, look at the forums. They're in on every SERP there is Quora, there's Reddit, there's of course YouTube videos. They own YouTube. That's fine. There's like, an AI overview now, which is now, they're playing around with that and putting links in. Like, it's a changing business model. So like everyone else has to change too. And the affiliate game, just one point there on an affiliate website, a, a pure affiliate website probably still works. You know what you need to learn now? You need to learn how to like run ads and sell your thing, and just like run ads and like run a profitable affiliate, I don't know, play, and just don't worry about SEO. Maybe your traffic's going to come from a different source. That's just a thought for me. I'm not very good at that, and I'm learning how to run paid traffic to bring in traffic. So
Well, my side hustle, I'll be sharing with you about this exact topic. So
nice.
a little
Pumped.
tease there, keep people around. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
it's a happy ending, by the way. It's got a happy
Nice.
ending. Well, it's not an ending, but it's got a happy point that we're at right now. How's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Let's park that one for right now and move on to our kind of our third article here and our third news topic. And it really does dovetail nicely. It is data that we have now coming out of that August 2024 core update. This is from sitestatsdb.com from Ian over there. And if you're not on his email list, he sends out some really cool stuff. He basically went through and tracked the data from 55,000 plus sites from Google's August core update. That's a large number. Basically, these are sites that are tracked and are monetized. Sorry, sites that are monetized with Mediavine, Raptive, or Amazon Associates. So, Mediavine, Raptive, and Amazon Associates sites, I think we can comfortably say like that fits the bill for a broad stroke look at like content websites, affiliate websites. I'm using some niche sites, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
using some of these terms that are triggering for many people, but like kind of that does in many ways, it's a good monochrome for That's the second time I've used that word today, by the way. I don't think I've used that word in the last 10 years of my life, and I've used it twice in 20 minutes. It's a good look at maybe the industry that a lot of our listeners live in, right? So again, a lot of data here. I tried to kind of bring some of it to summary. Across 55,000 plus websites, there was a total traffic gain of 122.9 million visits between August 15th and September 4th, with an average gain of 2,226 visits per site. That sounds really good, but by the way, that represents an overall percentage gain of less than 1%. So here's the interesting thing about it. Small sites, which is less than 10,000 monthly visitors, total traffic decreased by an 8.5%. It represented an 8.5% loss in traffic. There were 444 sites that fit that bill, and they lost an average of 8.5%. Medium-sized sites, so 10 to 50K in terms of monthly visitors, these saw a gain of 2.1%. Larger sites, so 50 to 100,000 monthly visitors, that dropped by 1.8%. And then very large sites, so sites, I'm sorry, by the way, I read that wrong. 50K to 1 million monthly visitors was the larger sites. And then very large sites, so over 1 million monthly visitors, these sites gained by an average of, let's see here, I believe it's less than a percent. Was it less than a percentage point?
Yeah, almost a
Yeah,
percent. So like
0.8.
0.9%.
Yeah, 0.9%. So, I mean, what does that really mean? Well, let's see. Winners and losers. 53% of sites tracked saw increases. 47% dropped. That kind of matches what Spencer and I said when we were analyzing this 2 weeks ago. When the initial data, like overall, more people were saying that they won or were flat than said they lost. Not by a lot, but by a little. And then I think that what it really does point to is, Google continues to favor larger sites. In this update, it wasn't dramatic, but if you're less than 10,000 monthly visitors, you lost almost 10% of your traffic there. So the rest of the sites, it was all within 2% down to 1%, 2% increase. What are your thoughts on this data? I mean, this is a large study, 55,000 domains, so it's kind of hard to get nitty gritty about it. But at the same time, that's a lot of sites to look at.
Yeah. When I first looked at it, to be honest, I was a little overwhelmed. So I had to drop this into Chat GPT and get like I want to get ideas from that, like a summarization. And it's kind of what you said, like you summed it up pretty well. It was kind of like, hey, if you're a small site, you saw loss, and in general, the larger sites saw a gain. Like when you look at percentages on data like this, it kind of, I don't know, it's very confusing because a percentage, you're like, well, a percentage of what? Okay, 1% of a million or 1%, whatever. But I think that idea holds true. Like what we said holds true. It looks like, yeah, smaller sites, which makes me think, like, I guess the interesting thing to me is I'm like, well, if you're a really small site and you lost that traffic, how can you gain that brand awareness in order to grow? That was like a thought that I had. And again, for me, it just goes back to, man, I think you got to diversify traffic sources. It may not come from Google.
I don't want to I think this is a bit of a tough spot to say because of what's happened last year. Historically speaking, 10,000 monthly visitors would be, I'd say more like a very small site, generally speaking, getting to 10,000 monthly visitors, to your point, you can do that with ad traffic relatively simply. You can do a lot of the tactics that have been shared on the podcast over the last couple of months with Facebook and Flipboard and Pinterest and all these other sources, even outside of Google. I have to say, I didn't see if that was just organic traffic, though. So that could be a 10,000 monthly visits on organic traffic. But even at that, I think that 10,000 is a relatively small number. And once you got past that 10,000 monthly mark, you were just in the world of like 1-2% ups and downs. Now, granted, this is an average, to be clear, an average. So inside of that average is huge swings up and down. Fair enough. But if we're using that 10,000 monthly visits as a kind of benchmark, that's not that small of a site. That's not that large of a site. That's very doable in the broad scheme of things.
Yeah, totally agree. Definitely agree with
you. So really quickly, you had a site go up, you had a site stay flat, you had a site go down. Anything out of what you've picked up in the last couple of weeks that might have led to that? I mean, Thomas got on and shared a week or two ago about some sites that went up and down. We had Morgan who joined us last week. She shared about some ups and downs she saw. Anything coming out of yours?
No, I don't know if it's because I don't look for answers or I honestly didn't even try to figure it out, Jared. I was just like, cool, this one went up, which honestly it probably should have gone up. It's my local media site. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why it dropped in the first place. Really, what I did is just kind of more point my finger at old crazy Google, and I'm like, it's just Google being Google again, you know. That's kind of what I did. I was like, okay, cool. You rewarded one, you made one stay the same, and you demolished one. Okay, cool. Sounds good, Google. That's just kind of the attitude that I've taken. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what I'm doing, man.
Yeah, well, I think your blood pressure is lower than a lot of people analyzing
Yeah,
the
it
updates.
totally helps. It totally helps. It totally helps keep the it really does help keep the blood pressure down. I'm checking my pulse right now. I'm feeling good, man. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, you good?
calm. It helps stay calm for sure by
Wait,
doing that.
if your blood pressure is good right now, I mean, you're in the middle of hosting a podcast. You just had a site get rocked by Google. I don't know. We all follow your methods a little more.
Let's talk. We'll have a powwow with everybody. Yeah, for sure. No
There you
problem.
go. You heard it here first. Brooks is going to now start a consulting service for how to manage your emotions through Google Updates. That's not a bad idea, actually. You might have some customers.
Yeah, sure. Well, I gotta come up with a fun. Yeah, we'll have some fun activities and everything. It'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Yeah, it's like you can create a meditation app for SEOs hit by Google Updates.
That's great.
We can really
Meditation
ideate
app
on
for
this if you
SEO.
want. I'll have a whole business
Oh, that
for you
is
within the next
good.
half hour.
Oh, I'm writing that down. This is funny. This could be, if nothing else, it'll be like a funny meme or something. You know,
This
would
is
be
your
great.
side hustle. This is what we're getting into, right? The side hustle section.
Perfect. Perfect.
Hey everyone, Spencer here, founder of Niche Pursuits. Are you adding a new internal link pointing to each article you publish? You should be. Ever find it time-consuming and a bit overwhelming? Remembering what content you publish and deciding which anchor text to use can be a real headache. What if there was a better way? Well, that's exactly why I created Link Whisper. Simply click Add Inbound Internal Links, and Link Whisper will scan your site in seconds and suggest the most relevant links with appropriate anchor text for your new article. Now simply check the box next to the internal links you want to add, and Link Whisper will add these links for you. No need to go into each article, edit, and add the link. It's already done. No more manual internal link building or guesswork. Just efficient, accurate linking that saves you time and improves your SEO. Transform your content strategy with Link Whisper. Start linking smarter, not harder. Use the coupon code podcast for $15 off. Head over to linkwhisper.com and use coupon code podcast to get $15 off.
All right, corny transitions aside, let's get into side hustles. I think it's obviously well timed. So I'll share a bit. This kind of dovetails nicely because we're talking about the helpful content update and the August core update and stuff. So I'm going to share a story about a website. I've talked about this a bit on Twitter, a bit on my email list. I've never really shared a kind of complete view of it on the news section of the podcast. It does fit a side hustle. This is a site that was a classic niche site. And it was making about $1,500 to $2,000 a month prior to the helpful content update. Definitely had some seasonality. So if you caught it in the like the winter time, it does better in the wintertime than it does other seasons. But it was kind of your classic niche site, informational content, some review content, etc. Got pummeled by the helpful content update in September 2023, and then got pummeled again by the March core update of 2024. And so that dropped it down to where it was making less than $100 a month. So $1,750, $1,800, $2,000 a month, down to like $2,876 a month. I actually checked right now. So this is not a recovery story. This site has not recovered from the August core update. As a matter of fact, it went even worse. It now ranks since the August core update for a total of 33 keywords.
Crazy.
This is a site that used to rank for at 1.60,000 keywords earlier.
Wow.
And it's now so unhelpful that it's down to 33 keywords. Again, I use the air quotes. But like I said, this is not necessarily a bad story. So I shared in April and May how I was going to start sending alternate traffic sources to this website. So we just gotten done. I just gotten done hosting the Alt G conference where we had a bunch of people come together and talk about all different ways to generate traffic. That was in April. So I'm like, cool. This is good. Cool. This is gonna be the site I focus on. So started a Facebook page for it. Started a likes campaign for it. Started posting regular content on Facebook for it. Trying to drive some traffic from Facebook over to the website. But the main point of the Facebook page was to build an email newsletter and to build an email list, right? And then start sending out content via email every single day to then drive people to the website and earn money via ads. We were already on Raptive at that point.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, I think it was June, I think it was June, we started doing Pinterest as well. Visual niche, so very good for Pinterest, you would think. And so we started that process. So anyways, took a while to get the Facebook page going. It's now up to over 15,000 likes. Took a while to
Nice.
get the email list going. It's now got over 10,000 subscribers, and took a while to get Pinterest going. It's now up to producing the bulk of the page views come from Pinterest. So in August, we got to the point where it was making $558 in the month of August. And through the first 18 days of September, it's already made $1,045.
Nice.
So it's
Nice.
on pace for September. Fingers crossed, things keep going. But if it kind of kept on this trend, it'd make roughly $1,750 this month from a variety of sources. Right, that's all from Raptive. It's not making much in terms of affiliate revenue or like that, and whatnot. But we're basically back to where we were pre HCU, and I can unequivocally say that none of that is from Google because it
Mm.
ranks for nothing. It hardly even has any keywords left.
Yeah. 33 keywords apparently. That
Three.
props to you, man. That's really cool. So even the 558 a month, that's a solid rental, like a little simple rental property here in my town in Lower Alabama. I convert everything to like real estate property, and I just kind of see it like that. 1750 a month is no joke. That's a high end. That's a high end house here rent.
It's a
That's a
swanky
high end
joint.
rental property. Yeah, that's a swanky joint. What made you decide to not say forget it and just scrap this project that went basically to nothing and like do all this diversification? Like what, when should someone say, forget it, or like, man, I'm gonna buckle down and like get these other traffic sources? Like how did you go through that thought process?
Well, the site had, I think, around 300 articles on it. So it had this
Okay.
good base of content.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I was really inspired by was, hey, if you have a website with a lot of content on it and you believe that it's halfway decent, which it was decent content, then that gives you the underpinnings for a newsletter, right? Like you can
Yep.
basically create a lot of that content and say like, hey, here's this article on blah, blah, blah. You can kind of give a one or two sentence kind of tease or synopsis and then send people to the article. And if you have an email list that is interested in that topic and the content aligns, like it just makes, it's like, okay, cool. Like I can at least give this a go. What's funny is that I think the email list represents like the biggest long-term value. Over
Mm-hmm.
10,000 people on the list, and they engage, and we can continue to market them. But right now, the bulk of the traffic, the majority of the traffic that's going to the website and thus earning the money from Raptive is actually from Pinterest. And as a visual
Mm.
niche, Pinterest is a place that we're 2 or 3 months in on that, and following a process that we use with some of our clients at 201 Creative at the agency. But that's where the bulk of the traffic is coming. But I feel like I love having, again, going back to what you said, like multiple sources of traffic this time. And I felt like, going back to your question, that this was a niche that was viable in multiple avenues, multiple areas.
No, that's awesome. I mean, like you are like the poster child for people that are like, what do I do? Like you're the poster child for that with this example website because you've diversified it. And I would argue and say, cool, this is probably a more solidified brand. I don't even know the site or whatever, but it's probably a more solidified brand now than it probably was with 300 articles. But on the website. But what's cool is you do have that content. I feel like so many people are just forgetting that they have that big base of content.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I've lost all the traffic." I'm like, "Man, you've done all this work. Like you own this corpus of content. Just slow down, take a deep breath, and figure out, and get creative." And that's what you did with that site, which is awesome. That's super cool, man.
It's cool, and I think to your point, like, there's multiple legs for it to stand on, so it's
Hmm.
not all relying on one source of traffic. And there's multiple legs that it could expand upon. I mean, it's only one revenue channel right now, which is Raptive ads. Like, there's so many other things that could be expanded upon that are niche specific and whatnot. So,
Yep.
you bring it up. I'm glad you did, because I feel the same way. Like, a lot of these websites that people are sitting on, it does take time to kind of transition and stuff, but at least I didn't have to write 300 articles worth of content, right? Like, I was sitting on that, and I got to kind of use that to then and I've talked about it, but like, you can use that content and feed AI with prompts to help you write the emails and the email prompts to get people to go visit, and obviously, to do all sorts of different things with publishing on social media and stuff. So yeah, hopefully it's an encouragement. Hopefully it helps give people an idea that all hope isn't lost with a website that Google hates. Google hates this website. 33 keywords from 60,000. I mean, they couldn't hate it anymore. I couldn't got slapped in the face anymore by Google than what this one did. And clearly the content isn't that unhelpful, because, but we talked about it. Model shift, model shift. We're going with model shift.
Exactly. Look at you now. Look at me now, Google. That's what you
Yeah,
tell
right.
Google. Look
That's
at
right.
me now, Google. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Well, what do you got for
Cool.
us?
Um, yeah. So I was gonna update you on the last time I was on. I was talking about domain flipping, which is still rolling. I'm still doing it. I'm still trying to get to 100. I haven't sold one yet. I just bought a few the other day of like .chat, because someone sent me a deal, like a coupon deal. So it's like, hey, we should chat or whatever. So I have some of those. I'm still in the market, so people have leftover domains that they're not going to renew. Send me a message or something. But
There you go.
in the last 48 hours, I launched a website. I actually used Card. Have you ever heard of Card?
I've heard of
Card.co. I
it.
think it's like, yeah. So
Hmm.
I had heard of it for years and I'd never used it. But this past year, I finally like opened an account or whatever and went there. So I used Card, which is basically like you can build like a single page website. Um, and you can see an example right here if you want. So it's localmediacrew.com is what I just built. And I'll tell you what it is, and I'll tell you why I built it, why it's my side hustle right now for this week. I built it because I run a local media brand and I'm always like connecting with people, and people are like wanting to start a local media brand, or they're like, oh, I run a newsletter up here. I honestly didn't have a real great way, Jared, of like connecting those specific people. I have a little like a mini Facebook group where I would like kind of collect people, or I have a little spreadsheet where I would just put their emails, but I wasn't keeping in touch with everybody. Well, so this guy, I met a guy named Andrew, and we've been chatting a good bit or whatever, and he runs a local media site that's 6 hours from me, also in Alabama. A small
Oh,
world. It's kind of crazy. He's in Huntsville, Alabama, which is North Alabama, and so we're like two Alabama boys. And I was like, look, man, let's just launch this thing, and we'll just let people that want to join us. Like me and him chat all the time, and so I was like, anyone that wants to join our chat, this is it. This is the brand. They can join the crew. They can join the local media crew. So it is our own little private mini Discord channel, very similar to how like the niche pursuits community works. The Discord channel is amazing for that, and so that's what we have. We just have a little mini Discord channel for like local media creators, and so I also use Thrivecart, which I had never used
mm-hmm.
either. I just purchased a license for that like 3 days ago, and so I was able to like tangibly touch all these tools, um, which is exciting for me to like expand my own toolbox. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that was built with Card and then Thrivecart, and then so yeah, I guess technically it's open for business.
What was your experience building with Card? They're known for simplicity, right, and super ease of
Yep.
use.
Super simple, super easy to use. I feel like I built now. Why did I build it on there instead of like a WordPress site? Yeah, I didn't even have to like launch WordPress or use up one of my like website spaces at my hosting company, and I already have the account paid for. It's super inexpensive, and it's also like I think you get like 20 or 15 or 20 or something with my plan. So I have all these slots. I was like, why not just build it there? So, um, That's what I did. And I think it's perfectly fine for what it is. Like we only need a single page site for it, you know?
What are your plans for it? Do you have any plans? You got it up. I mean, you said it's just live, went
Um,
live a little while ago, right?
yeah. It literally went live a little while ago. I'm going to reach out to the people where I've collected all of these emails, these people that are like all around the country and maybe other parts of the world. I'm just going to say, hey, we're hanging out in here. It does cost you some money. It's like, it's $49 a year is what we set it to be. I feel, I don't know. I feel completely good with that. And some of the stuff that me and just that guy have learned from each other, Andrew, um, priceless. Just me and him like sharing ideas, and so I'm just like, oh my gosh, like so I'm just trying to find that place. Yeah, so that'll be my first step. Will just be to reach out to those people, and then as I come across people, I'll just say, hey, join the crew, join the local media crew.
Is Andrew in the Niche Pursuits community? I feel like I've seen him in the
That
Discord.
yeah, that is where I met Andrew originally, actually, or we had crossed paths before. Yeah, Andrew, his last name is Smith. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's in the Niche Pursuits community. And yeah, so and we connected in there as well. So yeah, it's like this whole internet world, man. People are bouncing around and meeting each other all over the place.
Well, I can
So
vouch for Andrew. He shared a killer tip. Going back to the exact website I just shared about, he shared a killer tip to help me out with Facebook
okay.
ads that's really helped. So that's a good
Do you
guy right there.
do you remember what it was? Do you want to say it publicly or no?
Oh, it's so good I can't even share it publicly.
See, look at that is oh my gosh. That's yeah, that is probably some
That's
of the
not
same
for
stuff
me to
I'm talking
say.
about.
Now, if Andrew wants
Yeah.
to share it publicly, he can, but
Yeah.
I'm not sharing that because that's how good it was.
Leaving that one for Andrew. Yeah, he I know we got to move on, but he specifically is like he was running some specific ad types that I was like, oh, cool. I was like, yeah, I'll try that. I'm still running the same ad. I've been running it. I don't know. I've gained over 1,000 subscribers for my local newsletter. Like literally 20. It's the only ad I'm running right now. I don't even have a variation. It's like I'm averaging like 23 cents an email subscriber, like for
Without
local
giving it
local
too far
email.
away, I'm pretty sure you and I are following the same piece of advice from Andrew. Yeah, that's a good guy
All
right
right.
there.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah.
He didn't even know he's going to get so much love on the podcast today. Well, that's great, man. I mean, you're building a community. At the end of the day, you're building a community, and I think
Yeah.
that's super interesting because you're doing the local play and you're doing the community play, and it's fun to see. It's fun to think about where it could go.
So yeah, but the goal, it's like super simple, relaxed, organic community, right? Like, where's it gonna go? I don't know. Like, are we gonna do giant group cohorts? I don't know. Like, I'm gonna let it just like grow organically. Like whatever happens with it happens. Hopefully people just that want the value will come in and hang out with us and talk local newsletters. So
Well, very cool, man. You are doing. I mean, you just launched that site today, right? You got it off the ground really quickly. So fast. Well,
so it's funny. I was going to talk about something else, and then it was 4 hours before our call. I was like, wait, like maybe I can just get this. Maybe I can just get this live, and then this will be the side hustle. So yeah, that was it.
it wouldn't be the first time, and I've shared this before, where I'm like, there's a motivating factor to coming on and having to share about stuff every week. And
Yep.
not that like we don't always all have like side hustle stuff going on, but I know I've been to the point where I'm like, I really want to talk about this week. So
Yep.
I got to get that done so I can talk about it. And so you go do it.
Totally. Yep.
Well, it's time for us to transition into our weird niches. I will call out, I felt this was a good point of the podcast. And I don't know, Brooks, if you watched last week's podcast at all. Last week, it was right about this time when I noticed, because our recording software and the way this all works, we can see each other, which is a little off-putting to stare at yourself talking. But I noticed in my background, if you see my 201 sign, that, and again, we're mid-recording last week, that the one had fallen over, just hanging out inside. Kind of like, well, what are you going to do about it? I'm not going to get up in the middle of the podcast and go fix it. So I just left it. And I decided, I was like, well, I wonder if anyone will notice. And sure enough, several people commented on the YouTube that were like, dude, what happened to your 201 sign? So well done. Those of you who are very observant, it's fixed and I'll pay more attention to that now. I guess I'm hundreds of podcasts in. I think that's the first time that's happened.
I'm sure I have something funky in my background. I don't know. Yeah.
They call it like an
I don't know.
Easter egg though, right? Like these little
Yeah.
nice. So kudos to you if you noticed. It's fixed now, and now we'll transition into the weirdness. But every time we make this transition, I'm going to always, I think, natively go back and check in my rear view there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's good times, good times. All right, I'll go first here. So my weird niche is one that I use probably every day, and I thought, why am I not sharing this here on the podcast? I did come up with this one. I've been relying on people a lot lately. But this one is from me, and it's called url-opener.com. It is the world's, I don't know, I think it's probably the world's simplest site. And it's what it is, what it says it does. Like enter URLs, one per line, or separated by commas, or separated by space. And it will open all the given URLs in one click. And this is really nice. Like I find that I'll get like a Google Doc of maybe reports from someone on my team, or maybe like a new project. Like I got a new project delivered that we're going to the client with today, or earlier this week, sorry. And I wanted to look at all of them, but I want to just look at them all quickly to see, trends and look at it from a high level and stuff. Anyways, there's so many uses for this. You can just drop all the URLs in, press click and open. Not complicated, right? Not difficult. I'm not a programmer, but I can guarantee that wasn't difficult to make. And that's what it does. Now, you might say, like, well, how is this website doing? Well, I have it up here on the screen in terms of Ahrefs. It is a DR23, so nothing special, which makes sense. Probably wouldn't pick up a ton of backlinks. But this is what I find hilarious. It ranks, and now going back to actually my example of my niche site, my website from earlier. This website ranks for only 128 keywords, and yet Ahrefs estimates 39,000 monthly organic page views. That has got to be the most page views from the fewest keywords that has ever existed in Ahrefs. The term
Interesting.
URL opener ranks number one. They own so many number one positions for every variation of URL opener you can imagine. I mean, that we all know that Ahrefs tend to underreport in terms of other types of traffic as well, social traffic, direct traffic, and whatnot. This is probably generating between 50 to 100 to 100 over 100,000 page views per month. I guess the last thing to really go into is the fact that it doesn't have any monetization that I can find. It's only a one-page site. Going back to your one-page site example, no ads. So I don't even think they're making any money unless I missed it off anything on this.
What so I guess not. Yeah, so so the question is like what's the purpose, what's the goal? Do you know who's behind it? Like any idea?
I didn't
Okay.
look.
Yeah.
I should have, right? Like I should have tried
No,
to figure it out a bit. I didn't.
yes or no.
Oh, go ahead.
But what I feel like I'm missing out on the use case. I know you're saying you use it every day. So you drop URLs in there and it just opens them. So why not just like why do you need the tool to open the URLs?
It just
What am I
saves me
missing there?
10 seconds,
Okay.
20 seconds.
I guess I need to test the tool and then I'll know. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other use cases.
I'll know
Like I
once I
guess
use
in
it.
my position, I use it a lot
Mhm.
because I get like a lot of URLs given to me at once, maybe. Um,
Okay.
uh, uh, so if you get a lot of URLs, or like let's say that you're grabbing stuff, maybe you're doing some research, and so you're grabbing different articles that you want to
Okay.
have, for like a content update, and you're like, oh, cool, that's got some good stuff in it. That's got some good stuff. That article ranks well. You just put it in a little list, pop it in, and then when you're done, you can open them all. Maybe you're going around Ahrefs and you're grabbing URLs to like look at for competitor analysis or for keyword research or something. Put them all in here, and then bam, at the end you can open them all. So again,
Got it.
I want to be
Okay.
clear,
Okay.
not life changing, but saves you 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I probably use it maybe every day is being dramatic, a lot, most
Yeah.
days.
No, that's cool. I mean, I feel like even little tools like that, I don't even know exist. I feel like if I can make it a part of my repertoire, like make it a part of my habits, then you're just like, oh, this is amazing. And then I start using it every day of something I didn't even know I needed, and that's why I was asking you a few more pointed questions about it. So I'm going to test it, man. I'm going to test it out.
I'm trying to think of other use cases, but those are the ones I probably use it for the most.
Well, I mean, that's what it is. It's in the title URL opener. It's like if you need to open URLs,
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend going here if you're just trying to open one URL. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All
Not
right.
going to save you
So
much time, but
multiple URLs, drop them in and open them. Okay. All right.
it's just
Cool.
another in the long line of the continuation of like these little tools that people make that,
Mm-hmm.
and we feature the ones that are successful, but even success can be, I mean, how hard was this to make? Obviously not hard. And, over time it's done well. So,
Yeah.
but boy, they should drop some ads on it like everybody else does and at least make, their 3 to 5K a month.
Yeah. 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 No, that's cool. No, that's a cool tool. Well, your tool is really useful. And mine is apparently useless. Because it's the uselessweb.com. Was is the web is the weird site that I found, weird niche site. And it's pretty much what you think it might be. It's useless. It's a useless web, and it's the only thing there are some ads and a button
Do you want me
where
to
if
click
you
the button?
definitely, yeah, you should definitely click the button. I was pretty interested when I saw what websites it goes to. So let's see what happens. Click it. Click me, please.
I did. Oh, I got to share the new tab. Sorry. Open in a new tab.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. It shares here in Riverside on a
Oh,
tab
yeah, it does
basis.
open a new tab. Okay.
And is it doing that thing where it's not sharing the tab now? Kai, they got to fix this
It's
bug.
all
Hold on.
good.
I'll get it shared here. Give me a sec. Folks, it's not me. It's the tool, the software we use is not clicking on all cylinders of late in this one function. Here we go. That should be it
Bam.
right now.
Crazy. There's actually more than I thought. Like, I thought it was just cycling through the same kind of few websites, but I just click 4 on my end, and no, it's all random. It
So it's all
also,
new
but
sites. Yeah, it's just going to give you a
yeah,
random useless site. Is that kind of the construct here?
kind of that's it. But mixed amongst these for sure, are definitely sites that this site owner also runs and operates. So it's not just sending you to other sites. So I click to the about section, and I saw it's this guy. It's a smart guy. His name's Tim Hallman. So shout out to this guy, who's apparently like lives in Australia or something. So it's got his website here. He I think makes all kinds of random stuff. So the site links out to other sites. I don't think there's no way he runs all these. If he does, I'd be like, shout out to this guy. Like all the sites that you click through. But I do know that for sure some of them that I went through when I got to them, like one was like, well, I don't know. It was a bunch of random stuff. I'm not even gonna like name them out. There's puzzles and just weird stuff. There was like long scrolly weird tools and stuff. Yeah, which one is this?
Donut Kitten.
There you go.
I
Donut
mean,
kittens. It's
that
just like crazy
combines
stuff.
two of the most popular things on the internet: donuts and kittens.
So I think what I want to know is what I want to know is did he like, because the design of this one I'm on something called sliding.toys. It looks very similar to his style. I don't know if this is his though. No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
He
So
says at the
yeah.
bottom here that he created the useless web site in 2012 while locked up inside during a hurricane. Now, years later, I'm emailing around and trying to track down the stories of these sites, really to show that the creators of all these weird and wonderful websites come from all walks of life and that everybody can create. So if you've got a site in the useless web and I haven't reached out, feel free to give me a bell. Is that give me a call in Australian?
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Give me a bell. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. As far as I know, this site gets traffic. I'm not a HS. I don't know if you have it pulled up. I'm looking at like Uber suggests and looks like literally like hundreds of thousands.
Let's see here. I'll pull it
of
up
site
here
traffic.
for
Let's see what
us.
you have. Yeah. Because I'm looking at domain authority of 63. So I don't know what the DR is.
I got it right here and just have to share the screen again. Thank you. Let's get that bug fixed. DR 74.
Crazy.
Oh my goodness. It's the day of low keywords, high traffic. What the heck? Look at this. So it's on the screen right here. We've got basically that ranks for 1,800 keywords and generating an estimated monthly organic traffic from Ahrefs of 243,000 monthly page views. That is insane from so few keywords.
It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Whoa, look at this. Useless websites, the search term. ranks for 24,000, generates 24,000 estimated searches per month.
Yeah, a lot of searches for random websites, useless websites, the use web. Yeah, there's a lot of searches around that apparently for useless stuff out there on the internet. It's
Take
crazy,
me, take me to a useless website. That exact term is apparently put into Google
right?
5,500 times a month.
Yeah, isn't that crazy that someone like literally searched that, right? Take me to a useless website, and
Oh,
then the useless web gets the click and the ad view.
this must be the follow-up. Here's a search term that gets 600 searches a month. Take me to another useless website. It's the follow-on.
Yeah, exactly. I already went to one. Yeah, take me to another one. Oh, it's so good. Oh,
Oh
it's so
my
good.
gosh. I mean, this is the day of getting proven wrong. I thought that I'd found the site that ranks for the most traffic to the fewest keywords. And this site just, I think ratio wise, blew it out of the water. This is amazing.
Oh man. Oh yeah, it's crazy to know all these sites that exist out there. I've really enjoyed hearing y'all do that and talk through these. I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, what are all these things? It's a big web out there. It's a big
It's,
web, really big web.
and to your, what I'm actually thinking is that Spencer and I accidentally stumbled upon a gold mine of search traffic when we started doing the weird niche segment, because apparently people love looking for useless websites online.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what this segment's all about. But to your point, like, I mean, that guy's got to be making some amount of money with even just those minimal amount of ads if he's getting that amount of traffic to the site. I mean, that's a lot of
Yeah.
traffic.
It's especially, I mean, even if you didn't have to keep it updated or whatever, yeah, that's a profitable venture. Just that one site for sure.
Wow. Well, what a fun week. That was fun. We got serious and we had a lot of fun in the process. Brooks, thanks for coming on. Number 2 in the books. And apparently your heart rate and blood pressure doesn't move a bit by being a podcast host. So I think you're in the right spot.
Oh man, I don't know. I'll freak out later. Yeah, I'm good now.
What we want is next time you're back on, I want to see a profitable business around Google Core Update counseling services.
Oh yeah, I wrote down the meditation app for the SEO. Yeah, I made a note of that. I don't know. We'll do something with it. We'll do something with it.
Yeah. Well, if you don't, someone listening probably will, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So if nothing more, a
Yeah.
good meme. Hey, everyone, thanks for joining us this week on the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you again next week to talk about all the breaking news that we have from the week. See you guys.
Hey there, thanks so much for listening to the Niche Pursuits podcast. Did you know that Jared and I are members of a private group called the Niche Pursuits Community? And today I want to share with you how you can join for just $1. The Niche Pursuits Community is a private members area for niche online publishers to mastermind and grow their businesses together. We hold weekly calls live with experts where you can ask questions. These experts share tips on Amazon Influencer, Google Discover, building email newsletters, getting traffic from Facebook, and other strategies to grow your online business. You'll also be assigned a mastermind group of 4 or 5 other people in a similar stage in business as you. Dive deep into your business issues and get your problems solved. If you use coupon code PODCAST at checkout, you'll get your first month for just $1. Go ahead and give it a try. Come join me, Jared, and lots of other digital entrepreneurs inside my private group at community.nichepursuits.com. And be sure to use coupon code PODCAST. I'll see you on the inside.